Like a fighter jet in the Middle East, the US stock market is all afterburners. If this move feels unprecedented to you, perhaps it's because we've only seen a turnaround like this 3 other times in my entire life. In today's market forecast, we'll talk about how to trade a stock market that seems filled with helium. We'll also take a brief victory lap on Monday's forecasted trade ideas. It's not magic, it's skill. So I want to wrap up today's market forecast a little differently by giving you the exact formula I use to achieve these results. But for starters, let's look at the S&P 500. As you've no doubt seen, the S&P 500 has only gone up and up and up. So much so that you've got to ask, how much higher could the S&P 500 go? Well, as I often do, I've programmed an indicator so you can take a look and study this yourself. Now, we're on ticker symbol SPX, so we can go way back in history and see how many times the market has gone from being extremely oversold to being overbought. What you see on the screen here is standard deviations off from a 50-period daily moving average. To the downside, you've got a 1, 2, then 3 standard deviation. And to the upside, it's the same, 1, 2, and 3 standard deviation. Now, 11 days ago, we were 3 standard deviations. In fact, we were beyond 3 standard deviations oversold and then have ripped back on up to being overbought. The most recent occurrence of this happening was back in 2016. Not that long ago, probably recent enough for most of us to remember. You can see that we went from being extremely oversold to being overbought in the course of just a few days. And the market did have some carry through with that, and it continued higher and then stalled out. Now, this orange box is showing us 10 periods into the future after the market transitioned from being oversold to overbought in a short period of time. To see an instance before 2016, we have to go all the way on back to, keep on scrolling back, 1992, where we went from oversold to overbought in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days. And then the market stalled out, pulled on back a little bit, and then ended up going sideways for several more weeks. The next one that occurred in my lifetime is all the way back in 1982. Again, we went from oversold to overbought in a very quick period of time with a little bit of follow through afterwards and then a brief pullback. There were instances prior to that, but it was long before I was born and not very relevant to our current conversations. What I want to point out to you now is that just because we're overbought does not mean that the market has to pull on back. Now, I think it might. I don't think this is a good time to go chasing trades right now. We've just reached a new all-time high. There's several other factors that are playing into potentially a little bit of a market pause, but there's a lot of things that look positive in the market right now. One of them is what I call the three-headed monster, which is US treasuries, crude oil spot price, and the US dollar. And as treasuries, oil, and the dollar go down, those are all bullish signs for the US stock market. So we've gone quite a ways. I don't know that we necessarily need to stop where we're at. My opinion is that we could pull back just a little bit, but then continue on higher. Now, let's go take a look at the trade ideas from Monday and see what we can learn from these. Rivian Technology was the first one that we looked at, and this was our Son of Bonacci setup, not necessarily on the daily chart, but on the weekly chart. You can see stochastic is crossing up through 20. Also on the daily chart, we've got a beautiful uptrend here, and this was our squeezer play. I want you to remember that because that's exactly how we're able to anticipate these kinds of moves before they happen. If you're in this Rivian trade, I'd go ahead and move your stop up to the close of Tuesday or perhaps the open of Wednesday's candle. Make sure you lock in your profit. That's one of my rules of thumb during a difficult market, is to never let a winning trade close for a loss. And this is a nicely winning trade at this point, so make sure you take that gift that the market has given to you. The next trade is McDonald's. It finally went in our direction. McDonald's having a beautiful day on Wednesday. This is another one. I'd move my stop up to just above break even, but I think there's a lot of headroom to go on this, and hopefully we'll continue to put cash in our jeans. You don't have to worry about earnings for a little while. It's coming up on May 7th, so you've got over almost 3 weeks until earnings are going to become a factor. Now, the hero of the day was Tesla. Tesla skyrocketing on up, almost hitting our target. What an incredible 1, 2, 3-day trade. We jumped into this on Monday in Power Trader. I reiterated it again Monday evening in our market forecast. If you are in this trade, I would go ahead and move my stop up to about halfway through Wednesday's candle. Make sure you lock in that profit. Heck, if you got out of this trade, I wouldn't judge you for it, because this has put a lot of cash in our jeans in just 3 days. What an incredible trade. Now, honorable mention is Delta Airlines. We told the gangster story about Delta buying an oil refinery and how much that's benefiting them in Q2. And it looks like the entire world watched my market forecast as Delta Airlines skyrocketed on Tuesday and then followed through again on Wednesday. While I didn't have a particular trade set up on that, I did say if you had a couple bucks, you might want to participate in Delta Airlines' success. But if you got a couple bucks to throw at Delta, it may be fun to just participate in that story. Now, to wrap up today's market forecast, I want to end with a little bit of a teachable moment. To be able to get these kinds of results, there's only 3 things that you need to be able to do. Number 1, you've got to forecast the direction the market's going to go. This is all about pivot points and the correct use of indicators and whatnot. The second thing you need to be able to do is apply the right strategy at the right time. This is where you get your edge in the market. And the final thing is you've got to be able to monetize your process. Those are the trading laws and trading plans that you're going to follow so that you can protect your profit and continue to put cash in your jeans. That's it. Analyze, strategize, monetize. If you'd like to learn how to do that for yourself, use the link in the description to start a $10 Power Trader trial. Let me know when you're there live that you want to master the ultimate trading formula, and I'll be glad to get you some free resources that'll help you along that journey. Until I see you in the next market forecast, blessings and favor on your trades. I'll see you soon.